Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Not Only Running podcast, because this is going to be a
Hi.
podcast, but it's also going to be some short videos that are going to be available on the Instagram channel as well. So it's me, Jill, and
Sarah here.
yeah, our beautiful coach. And today we are going to talk you through all things Riyadh Marathon from both of our perspectives, because I did the marathon and Sarah did the
Half here.
marathon. So we're going to hopefully condense these down into short little mini segments where we're going to sort of give you a bit of an insight into our background before the race, our training for the race, what our days out from marathon, half marathon look like to actual race day. And then the final concluding one will be the now, which is where we're sitting. And it is, just for context, it's Thursday, which means it's Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 5 days after the big race day. And just so you know, I have traveled 6,000 kilometers since then on an airplane on an overnight flight. So my return to running might look very different to Sarah's, who is comfortably still sitting there in Riyadh. So yeah. So again, guys, welcome to the podcast. And let's get started with our first one. Oh, and I guess we should say also a massive congratulations to everybody
Yeah.
that participated. There was over 20,000 people registered and took part. It was mad. Um, yeah, it was amazing. 20,000 people in Riyadh. It's just like rush hour traffic. It's amazing. Okay. So let's get started with the first video there.
Okay, Jill. So take us through like your training and how it looked like and leading into your marathon.
Oh, well, again, backstory, second marathon ever. First one was in 2019. I actually just figured out how to get the previous time because it wasn't on my Training Peaks. I think I had a separate Training Peaks account because I was attached to another coach at the time. But Strava has managed to give me the data, and I think it was I came in I think 5 hours, Jesus Christ, no, 4 hours, and it was 4 hours and 57 minutes, I believe. So we did do it in the sub 5. Anyway, that's the backstory. The last one was in 2019. And like I said at the time, it was off the back of an Ironman where we thought we were too cool for school and could just jump straight into a marathon. And definitely wouldn't recommend it unless you've done marathons before. But we had not. So since really COVID, all of my training has been running, but I've been specifically training for half marathons. And over the past couple of years, I've seen big changes in my half marathon times. And the reason why I signed up for the marathon is because I was toying with the idea of doing a Lulla, the 50K, but then I looked outside and seen the rain, and I said Ireland is not the place to train for a trail run in the sand and the sun. But the seed was sown. It seemed kind of set in my head that I was going to do something long distance. And I thought, well, I might as well do a marathon now. And after September, where I ran the Dublin half marathon, I decided to train because I had kind of been in a position where I'd been running anywhere up to sort of like 42, 44 kilometers a week in the lead up to that. So I knew I had a decent amount of distance and volume in my legs to kind of continue on to do a marathon. So my training really started in September time. So I had all of sort of October, November, December, January. I had 4 months, so around 16 weeks to build for my marathon. In terms of what that looked like for me, you know me and I know you. I love doing other stuff as well, so I didn't
Yeah.
want that to stop. I know it had to at a certain time, but to start with, I was only really running 3 times per week, up until probably about 10 weeks out from the marathon. Um, it was something that I was very cautious of because I knew before when I started adding extra runs in and I was still wanting to do the other stuff, it just wasn't great on my body. And I just didn't want to do anything silly before then. So
Fine.
yeah, exactly. So 3 runs per week, and then that increased to 4 runs per week. I never went into sort of 5+ runs per week. I just thought 4 was my sweet spot. I was able to get in the amount of training that I wanted to do. I say my biggest week was probably close to around about 62K. Was my biggest week. I think I did 55 to 62 over a 3 week period where I did sort of my longest run, which was 30, around about 32 kilometers. I did a 30 and a 32. And then my taper started pretty much 2.5 weeks out from marathon day, and that kind of coincided nicely with the travel over to Riyadh. Um, I was strength training all the way through until probably around about 2.5 weeks out from the marathon. And with strength training, I mean like proper strength training for my legs, plyometric work that I would have been doing. I know me and you did a couple of upper body strength sessions. That was about the extent of it. I just didn't. I took the strength out because where we know strength is such a positive thing, there comes a time where it is still stress and where it's probably more of a priority for the running to be, incurring all the stress that I want. So that's kind of where I was and where how I built up to the marathon. I still did cross training sessions. I still jumped into bike row ski until I couldn't towards the end. But yeah, that was it. It was a very I want to say it was a very enjoyable build. More than I thought, because the last time we did the marathon, I probably got a bit of a, oh, I don't really like this here. I didn't enjoy it, but I enjoyed this here. Now, whether or not I decide to do another one is another thing, but I'm very happy with my body's response to that. And I put that down to being consistent with my running training for, since 2017, whenever we really first started. And it's probably taken that amount of time to know that, I've got that consistency and, I guess resilience in the body to be able to go and do something and
Yeah.
feel good while I'm doing it. So yeah, that's my story. That ends my little bit, and I will head over to you.
Okay.
Okay, Sarah. So now it's your turn to talk us through your build up to your half marathon there on the day.
Okay. So, well, I had to stop training in 2020 because I got pregnant with Faris, and after delivery, postpartum, it was difficult for me to go back to running. It was very uncomfortable, so it took some time, to go to rehab. And I didn't start going back to, or I didn't start running until like September 2023. So in that time, I joined or I decided to prep for an Ironman race, which was in December. Okay. Just because because I had to go back to triathlon. And then, so with that, and like I was very cautious and I tried to take it very easy to gradually build up to my 21K for the Ironman. And I would run approximately, it was like 2 to 3 times a week max, which felt very good at the time. And after I was done with that, I decided to sign up for the Riyadh Marathon. So with that, of course, I signed up for the 21. And so I had only 8 weeks to prepare for that. So again, like I started, of course, like I stopped the other sports which I was doing. And I just focused on running, which was almost 3 times a week. And upcoming like halfway through, it started to become almost 4 times, depending on, yeah, if like the mileage. And so I was running approximately between 25 to 35 kilometers a week. And then leading up to the race, it reached almost like 35 kilometers a week. And during that time, I was still doing also strength training, which was really needed. And yeah, so and it took me almost, yeah, we took like 2 weeks off like for the taper time. And that's when we also like reduced the volume and like upper or lower body strength training. And yeah, but overall it felt great. Of course, there were times where like anyone, like a kid was sick and I had to take time off or
Yeah.
I wouldn't sleep well. So
Mm,
that took a bit of a toll.
yeah.
But I tried to be mindful and cautious about that too and take it into perspective of my
Yeah.
overall training
Yeah.
plan.
I think that's a completely different like podcast that we can have. I think it's fantastic. Like obviously you were, I kind of helped you on your training plan, but even if there were times where you knew you weren't going to get a run done, it was like it's okay. It's not gonna upset the apple cart too much. You do what you can do based on life, and with having three kids, and work and life and everything like that there, it's not gonna be perfect, but you did an amazing job and you had a really good build for both of the races that you absolutely smashed. So well done, Sarah.
I couldn't have done it without you, Jill,
Oh.
without your guidance and
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Just
programming. So couldn't be
yeah,
happier.
great stuff. Let's just bring that one and we'll move on to our next section now.
Okay, Jill. So take us through like the days leading to the marathon and marathon day, like logistics and so on.
Yeah, the juicy part. Okay. So obviously living in Ireland, 6,000 kilometers away, it's cold, it's windy, it's rainy. I did allow myself probably more time than, most people have the luxury of doing. Obviously working online, you can work from anywhere. So I came over about 10 days before the marathon. Yeah, I wanted to make sure that I got well accustomed to the environment. I know every time I arrive in Saudi, having been away for even like 2, 3 weeks, I come back and my whole area becomes like drier than the desert, and there's nosebleeds galore. So I wanted to make sure that I set myself up for success, that I wasn't running with that. So I came over 10 days out and I kind of had a bit of a plan of what that was going to look like in terms of running, and other types of training, and then just proper prep. So in terms of running on my last week, the marathon was on the Saturday. My last run that I did was on a Thursday. It was actually done on a treadmill because you didn't want to run with me on the Thursday. So I didn't. I just said I'll just run on the treadmill, which was just literally like a walk run. It was no more than 40 minutes. I knew that the thing is with a taper, like people start to freak out that they're not doing a lot, but like all the big work has been done. And given the past half marathons that I've done, I know that I don't particularly need to or want to run on the day before. So with things like shakeout runs, like they're great. And some people really, really live by them and they get so much from them from a psychological standpoint, even like they just feel less heavy going into the race. That's fine. That's not me. So I don't necessarily do it. Um, I just prefer to kind of relax the day before. So that's what I did do. Obviously, 3 days out from the race, I was just, I don't want to say eating a hell of a lot more, but I was just prioritizing certain food groups in the lead up to it. And obviously, that's carbohydrate. We know that was for me, it was definitely a lot more bread and a lot more bread,
Sourdough.
sushi, sourdough. Yeah, I think I went through like 4 loaves of sourdough the whole time I was there. Addicted. Yeah, so like things like breads, rice, and oats. Definitely, there was a lot more in terms of like portions that so I was adding to my intake. Um, and I brought over my own food for the actual race in itself. I brought over the stuff that I'd been training with. So in terms of nutritional sources, what I was using, I have a carbohydrate and electrolyte drink called Tailwind. So I brought over that with me. I think if you watch the video, I kind of went through what I was taking. I had mini Cliff bars, Rice Krispie bars, and I had two types of gels, one with caffeine, which was precision hydration and nutrition. Again, like it, used it in training, tried it, always good. And then I had an SIS gel. It was an orange flavored one, which on the day of the race did not get consumed, simply because I think if you know yourself whether or not you're ready to take a gel on or not, or if you just think it's not gonna be, well received by your body, and that's where it was. So I ended up opting for some Gatorade on the aid stations. So in terms of my nutrition plan, I was looking anywhere between 45 to 50 grams of carbohydrate per hour. So that's what I was using. That's what I stuck to. In terms of water, it was anywhere between 5 to 600 mils per hour with electrolytes. That's what I stuck to. That's what I did. All went well. No cramping, no real wall was hit until 35, 36 kilometers. And it wasn't even a wall through under like through not taking on enough fuel. It was just a little bit of tiredness and I think a bit of like a mental block until I got through from like kilometer 36 to 39. Um, but so fueling went really, really well. In terms of my race strategy, I think I said this before. It's like people just think that in order to run a marathon, you have to run the whole thing in its entirety. Um,
Run.
I did not run it non-stop. I had a plan in place where I was running. It was almost like in shorter blocks as it progressed through, but it was always in line with when I was going to be taking on fuel. So my first hour was going to be liquid based. So I didn't really need to stop and chew and eat or anything like that. It was very much just drinking, which was fine. So my first break was at like 12 kilometers. I walked through for a minute. I had a Rice Krispie bar. If you've seen the pictures, that's what I was eating.
Evidence.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And obviously my drink, my carbohydrate drink, and then it was another 10K until I had another solid, and then that's whenever my carbohydrate drink went. And then after the 10K, it was every sort of like 5 to 6 kilometers. There was a very short walk through. There was also two stops at the bathroom, because my bladder is the size of a pea. And yeah, and then in terms of average pace, it was anywhere sort of between a 5:50 to a 6:11. And I think on average, even with the walk breaks, it came out at 6:11, which was my average finish time. So I was very, very happy. Everything went to plan. I finished in a completely different situation than we did in 2019. I was in so much pain. I suffered so much in that last marathon. But this one, I finished and I was like, and I wanted to finish feeling like, okay, cool. And that last kilometer, was the fastest kilometer of my race, which is exactly how I wanted to finish and what I had been practicing in my training as well. So yeah, I was really, really happy with that. I got the medal. I don't get me wrong, I definitely seized up a little tiny bit after, but I mean after 42 kilometers, I think if you didn't, you're an elite and I ain't an elite. So that's how my day went.
But it went great, Jill.
It did.
Especially, yeah, coming out of that not so good race in 2019.
Yeah. Oh, PTSD, PTSD. But it was great. Now let's look at yours. Okay, Sarah, so your turn to talk us through how your lead up to the race was, those couple of days out or week out even, and then race day in terms of, strategy, fueling, and execution.
Okay, so the days leading to the race, of course, like we were in taper week. So like the runs were shorter. And I remember there was a run on the 2 days prior to the race, which was a Thursday. I did not run that because I didn't feel that I had the energy, nor did I sleep well also because Fatis, yeah, woke up in the middle of the night. So I thought, you know what? I was better off to just sleep and recover that day. And I remember I told you I went to join the shakeout run on Friday.
Yeah.
That didn't happen either because I needed to sleep in more. So yeah, so both days like it was like the last run that we did was it was on a Tuesday, I
Yeah,
remember.
that's
Yeah.
Tuesday. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And after that, yeah, so that was the last time that I ran. And then leading up to the race, it was very weird that I just show up to a race not having my swimming gear and like bicycle and all that. So it was very I felt very light.
Relaxed.
Exactly, and relaxed. Um, so that went great. And I remember whenever it was a bit cold, which was nice, knowing that, whenever we start running, the weather would be great. So yeah, I was excited, actually looking forward to it, given the fact that, I know that I worked well and like I prepped for it well.
Yeah.
So I knew what I was doing. I had a plan. I had all my nutrition with me. So I felt ready to start. And one of the things that I found helpful was having someone to run with. Like, so it's more of like the community. So we started like running at the start line with Wafa, and there were a couple of girls, which was great. So yeah, so usually I love to start my runs like slow at a slower pace And then I would gradually build that up into a faster pace. And I had my nutrition. I had like just actually I had three gels. So I had two uncaffeinated, actually, yeah, one uncaffeinated and then two caffeinated. Yeah. But the one, so
Oh my
actually,
God. Okay.
so actually, no, okay. Given my mommy's brain, I had two gels and then I had the block, like the
Oh,
blue
okay. Yeah,
cliff
yeah.
gummies, which I loved actually. So I had like two portions of those, like on minute 40 and then minute almost like 75, which I found helpful. And then after that, I went into my Huma gel, which was slightly caffeinated. It was just like 25 milligrams of
Those are the
caffeine.
ones with chia seeds, aren't they?
Yeah. So actually, I loved it, even though, yeah.
Oh,
So
it's the off topic, but it's the consistency like chia seeds.
no, it was actually like, it's like having like jam.
Oh, so it's just like a gel.
Yeah, it's just a gel. Yeah. So you
Interesting.
don't
Like
feel the
chia
cheese.
seeds. Chia seeds are like the consistency kind of scares me a
No,
little.
no. Yeah. So yeah, there and yeah, you don't feel the chia seeds. So that
Okay.
was
Okay. Good. 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 Good.
so, and then almost 30 minutes before, like at the end of the race, that's whenever I took the caffeinated gel, which was the GU gel,
Yeah.
because I gave, actually, yeah, I didn't have a caffeinated one. I noticed.
This is why, guys, your nutrition strategy comes along when you're training Sarah.
No, because
She
I
had her
tried.
plan. Yeah, she had her plan, but I don't know. She could have had a McDonald's halfway around. Who knows? Who knows?
No, 'cause I tried the GU. So one thing is that I would never use anything I didn't try before.
Okay.
That's one of like the number one rule for nutrition on a race day. So I was planning to have a cyst gel.
Yeah.
And then I noticed the one that I have was not caffeinated. So I just didn't use it. And then the only caffeinated gel that I had was the GU. So I
Okay.
thought, okay. And it went well. You just need to drink more water with it. That's the only thing that I don't like about the GU gels.
Yeah,
Uh,
they are quite they're quite I find that with most gels as well, you really need to be taking the water, but that's why I think like the carbohydrate mix drink, like the tailwind,
yeah,
it's just water. Like
yeah.
it's so much nicer. Yeah. Anyway.
So
Mm.
yeah, so that went well, which I'm glad it went well. As for electrolytes, so this time I didn't go with my electrolytes that I usually carry with me, since it was kind of like a shorter distance than what I'm used to, like on an Ironman race.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I had
yeah.
my salt tablets with me, which
Okay.
helped. So I almost like took three tablets, like every almost 45 minutes or so. And I felt great, like no cramping. I didn't hit a wall. My legs didn't feel heavy. But I tried to take some breaks on the first half of the run.
Yeah.
So especially when it became very hilly, that's whenever I decided to just like either slow it down,
Yeah, yeah.
power walk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Respond.
And then as soon as we got out of the hilly area, it was almost about like kilometer 14. That's whenever it was like we started going on the fast, what's it called, on the highway.
Okay, yeah. But there was a part on the highway that did get quite like the link coming into um I know we were talking about that it was a nice hill highway down, but then it
Yeah,
went up again for like about 2-3 kilometers before you went up into the residential area. So it was kind
yeah,
of like a down,
exactly.
and then it was an up and up, and then it was down.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So at that point, it started to rain. So I think that's whenever I got all that energy.
Jesus.
And then as soon as I hit kilometer 18, that's whenever I felt like, okay, you know what? It's time to just like speed up.
Yeah,
And I was so happy that at that moment I felt that I had the energy.
yeah,
I felt great. And I was able to push. So every kilometer, I would push even faster.
yeah.
So like my pace was like I started at 7:30 at the beginning. And then I think I finished at about like five 5:05. I'm just like, oh,
Okay,
we're
yeah,
just gonna
yeah,
keep going. But
yeah,
like my average overall pace was 6:40
yeah,
almost.
yeah, roughly, yeah, in around
Yeah.
that, yeah, yeah, yeah,
So yeah, I was just so happy with how my race went.
yeah. You did a really great job. So congratulations.
Thank you.
We'll update at a later date of what the nutrition plan was in the race.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, well done, Sarah. Good job.
Thank
Let's
you.
move on to the next one then. Okay. Okay. So now the final parts. We have talked about our own individual builds for both of the race distances. We've talked about race day strategy, nutrition. We still haven't figured out what Sarah's eaten yet. And I'm just no logging on my fitness pal. And then now we really just want to talk about like the next. I mean, as I said, we're 5 days kind of post marathon, half marathon. Um,
Did you run yet, Jill? Or no?
no, no. It's funny, like I don't even have the desire to put on my runners. Like I would say, sorry, I kind of had to run last night. It was Valentine's Day. We were out for dinner. Typical Ireland was absolutely peeing down out of the heavens. So I kind of like had to run towards my car. But I was in Converse shoes and I'm like, I was running, it was like, I haven't ran yet. I'm toying with the idea of possibly walk running on Friday with the run club. There's a run club in one of the parks here, and we were thinking of taking the dogs and doing, run, walk, run, walk, run, walk. That'll be the first one back. But race it like proper running back. It's probably going to be sort of next week, maybe Tuesday or Wednesday. I want to give myself 10 days of no
Yeah.
run. I have been back obviously in the gym. On Monday I did a cross training session, 30
How did
minutes.
that?
Yeah, on the cross train, I felt good. I actually felt better. Do you know what I mean? Like I felt better for moving, get a bit of blood
Yeah.
flow in around there, less stiff. I mean, obviously I traveled on overnight on the Sunday to Monday. So when I came back, obviously I didn't do anything. Oh, that was on the Monday. I didn't do anything on the Monday. I walked the dogs. That was about it. And then Tuesday, cross training session, got the body moving again. Felt really, really good after it. Yesterday I did a bike session, like it was a class, but
Okay.
I didn't do the class, if that makes sense. I wanted the music and I kind of just
Walked
did my,
around.
did my own thing. Um,
Okay.
and then I did some band work for my legs just to kind of see how that felt. And it all felt good. And this morning I went for a swim, which was great. I enjoyed it. And yeah, tomorrow, probably same as what I did the other day, just some cross training. That's it. Nothing, no need to jump back in just yet. I do have another race planned for the future
When is
in
that?
May.
Okay, nice.
In May time. It's a half marathon. It's in Manchester. I'm looking forward to that. So my next two races that I know I'm definitely going to be doing this year is a half marathon in mid-May. And then obviously as part of the run club, we've got the Dublin half marathon here. So that's at the end of September, and that's definitely going to happen again this year. Um, and outside of that, I don't know. Maybe Bahrain Ironman, maybe. Don't know. Who knows? Don't think another marathon is going to happen this year. If anything, maybe more next year or very, very towards the end of the year if it's going to happen.
Or Ola, maybe.
Yeah, it's just that like I know we've talked about this as well. I just think I'd love to do it a lot. I just think the training, like I'd need to come over in like November, December time and spend a good sort of 4 to 6 weeks training in Riyadh. I just don't, I think it would be very difficult for me. And I guess like most things, I want to set myself up for success if I'm going to go in and do it. And if I'm not getting to run on sand and in the heat, to do 50K in it is going to be hard. If it was a
Yeah.
10K, maybe.
Yeah. Okay.
But 50, maybe not. Like, there's smart and then there's not smart. And
Exactly. And Jill wants to be smart.
yeah, I pride myself in being smart about things sometimes. But yeah. But yeah, that's kind of where I am. I'm happy that body is coming back it's normality. Not gonna lie, it definitely was sore after the race, but that's kind of gone. I've been sleeping well. My whoop is back in the green for the past 3 days, which is great. Sleeping. Um, yeah, that's where I am.
Perfect.
What about you?
So what about me? So yeah, I didn't run yet. And again, it's like with everything going on, Paris being sick. I think I don't know how many times I would mention of a sick child, but yeah, going through flu season and having a child out of three, like one out of two, three getting sick. Yeah, it's like shuffling around. Uh, but anyways, so yeah, for the past days, I didn't feel like I wanted to run again. I just felt like I just wanted to just move. So I did two calisthenic sessions. So it was just like upper body, core, and then some mobility, which felt great.
Yeah.
Um, and after that, yeah, I was meant to run tomorrow, but then I have a big event at night. So I don't know if I'll be able to run in the morning. So
Mm,
maybe I'll have that postponed to Saturday,
very good.
which,
Yeah.
yeah,
Just listen to the
I'll
body.
be more rested. And nutrition wise, it was just, I've been trying to just eat well, give
Mm,
myself some like nutrition to
yeah. I did,
recover.
I didn't mention, but I have definitely been a lot more hungry in the couple of days after I noticed. I actually woke up on the plane on the way back and I was just like, I'm hungry.
Yeah, right?
Not like me. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Yeah.
the appetite. Yeah. So being mindful of that too.
Yeah,
It's like
100%.
all of a sudden, like I was craving, yeah, chips and whatnot. So I had some, and but I made sure that I would eat more like
Good.
wholesome
Yeah,
food,
good quality food. Yeah, it is
quality
important.
food,
It's
and
important.
then give it to that chips. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's good.
Yeah. Yeah. Fair enough. Fair enough. And what about so next for you is
Well, okay, so maybe Turkey,
yeah,
Ironman,
Ironman 20.
half Ironman 70.3.
Yep.
Maybe Turkey, November time,
Yep.
December, yeah, October, November time. So I might be, I'm toying about the idea of doing that, or Bahrain, depending on like how things go. So for the time being, I just want to maintain my fitness with running. So I'll be doing the running club, the Try Built Me running club. So it's
So
just
segue into promotion there. Love it. Love it. We'll talk about that. Yeah, good. Yeah.
so yeah, it's just I'm looking forward actually to it. I'm looking
Yeah.
like running just 3 times a week, not like too much stress, I guess.
Yeah.
Like I'm not looking forward to adding another like level of stress like for a race. So
Yeah.
I just want
Yeah.
to go into a run where I'll feel good
Yeah.
and
It's yeah, I think the timing, and I know a number of guys are doing London Marathon, but you're obviously coming into Ramadan in the
oh
next
yeah.
4 weeks. So that really does I don't want to say it negatively impacts your training. It doesn't if it's managed right. You can still train very well throughout the month. Um, but yeah, it's sometimes it's nice just to not have the stress of a race,
Yeah.
so soon where you can take a step back and just enjoy doing everything that you really love. And like what you said about the run club, that is probably the underlying goal for the run club is for maintenance throughout the year, because what I've seen over the past 3 4 years is that people are very reactive to their training. So they see a race and they're like, oh, I need to start running
Mhm.
again. Whereas I
Yeah.
feel like if you are wanting to race regularly, you need to make sure that you maintain your running, that you're not taking 4 to 5 months of doing absolutely nothing and then expecting to come back and be doing what you did before. It doesn't quite work like that, yourself. So the run club is a nice little segue for that you're always going to get that under current of volume depending on what level you are. So within
Mhm.
the run club, we've got different levels based on where you're coming from and where you're wanting to go, whether you're a complete beginner or whether you've been doing bits and pieces for the past sort of 3 to 6 months, 6 to 9 months, or 1 year plus. And the runs are structured obviously based on your own metrics. So your own zones are set up specifically for that. But the nice thing about it is that you can choose what you do on the day as well, because like what you said, there were times where you're like, oh, I didn't feel like doing that. Well, if you don't feel like doing like the level 3 run, which normally you would do, you can do the level 1 run on that day. It's not going to negatively impact. And then with that, you've got your strength training that's included within it. And really just the education, because there's
It's an important
big,
part.
big gaps in, people's understanding of what they should be doing in their training, along with other things. And I think, like most things, the more you know about running, the better you become, and the
Yeah.
more confident that you become as well. So yeah, I'm really excited for it. And like I said, we've geared the run club around kind of two key events within the year. And one of them is just passed, which is obviously the Riyadh 10K half marathon. And then we'll also have in September the Dublin half marathon. And that's really for this year. Who knows? Next year, maybe there's,
Never
going
know.
to be more people joining from all over the world that we need to put more training on for other things. So who knows? The world is it's fun. But yeah, on that note, fantastic race.
It was amazing.
One of the
Yeah.
best that I've ever participated in.
Right?
I've said
Mhm.
that I kind of fed that back to the guys as well. Obviously, if there was improvements, the only thing would be that one minor thing, which is the live tracker. The live
Right.
tracker.
Right.
Everything
Yeah.
else was perfect. I would take the clean toilets over the live tracker any day.
Okay. Well, actually, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah, yeah,
that's
yeah,
a
yeah.
plus.
Plus. But yeah, I guess just to wrap it up, guys, again, congratulations to 20,000 people that took part in it, and an extra special shout out to everyone that ran under the Try Built Me banner, which there was many this year, and you made us very proud on the day, and it was fantastic seeing everybody. And until next time, guys, we hope that you have a great day, week, and month ahead. And if you're interested in the Run Club, hit us up. Ciao.
Bye.
Bye.